Hello, today is the 20th of October. It is 11:13 a.m. and I am April, and welcome to the word of encouragement. Learn to love. Yes. And today, that's what I am talking about. Actually, today I'm talking about love. And I'm coming from two parts, so I'm gonna try to make this short, and I don't want to take up your time. The two things that I'm talking about is learning to love one another, and another one is learning to love not the world. First, I want to talk about loving one another. You know, it's so important that we love one another. God said charity covers a multitude of sins, and if you don't love him, how can you love somebody else? It's just that deep. Again, I said a lot of people don't want to probably hear it, you know, but it's real. You know, it's going to take love to get you to heaven. Okay, I'm coming from 1 John 4:20, and it says, if any man say, I love God, and hated his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother he had seen, how can he love God who he never seen? And I think that is very deep. And another point I want to stress is the second commandment, and it says, love thy neighbor as thyself. And a lot of people talk about a neighbor just being somebody who you see, or your next door neighbor, or one of your best friends that live next door, or a homeless person, you know. But actually, a neighbor talks about in the Bible as even someone being your enemy. You know, it's easy to love someone that loves you, or care for someone that cares for you. But God talks about loving your neighbor, meaning loving someone that don't even love you, or loving someone that probably can't stand your guts. You know, that's the type of love that God is talking about. And if you go to the book of Matthew, the 10th chapter, around the 25th verse, Matthew the 10th chapter, around the 25th verse, and you can read that between the 25th verse and the 37th verse. And anyway, it talks about a guy that came from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he was robbed, and they took his clothes, they took everything from him, and they robbed him. And it was thieves that robbed him and stripped him from everything, and they wounded him. And as he was wounded, you know, two people passed by him before one person actually stopped and helped him. And it says the certain priest passed by, looked at him now. He saw him, he passed right by him. And they say, and God spoke a parable. This is a parable from God, from Jesus himself. And this says a Levite saw him. And when he saw him, he looked on him. And when he looked on him, he passed right by him. Went to the other side and passed right by him. And then last, it was a certain Samaritan. Now, if I'm not mistaken, like back in the days when Jesus was speaking this parable, I think the Samaritans and this guy that was, you know, was beat by the thieves and stuff, I think his group of people and the Samaritans, they were kind of, you know, against one another. But it was the Samaritan that stopped to help the guy. And it says right here that as he journeyed, he had compassion on him. You know, so that's how we should do. We should have compassion on everybody. Now, the world love those that love them. And the world do and treat those right that treat them right. But when you love God and you are a servant of God, you love and you treat everybody right. No matter who they are, you know, no matter what they did to you, you treat and you love everybody right. I said that to say even your enemies. And right here it talks about, and he went on and he bound up his wounds, and he poured oil and wine, and he set him on his beast and brought him in and took care of him. You know, it's just that deep. You know, if you against somebody or someone did you so wrong, you know, it hurt you so bad. If you saw them in a car accident, or you saw them lacking or in need, would you go help them? You know, ask yourself that. I think that's very important, because I think loving our neighbor, which God talks about right here, is not just those that love you, but even your enemy. I think that's deep, and I think that's something that we all can work on. You know, even myself. You know, I'm not xed out of this, lesson. This is for me too. And not only that, he said on the morrow he departed, and he took 2 pence, that's money back then, and gave them to the host, and said unto him, take care of him, and and whatsoever thou spendest more, when I come again, I will repay thee. Which now of these three thinkest thou was neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves? Now God asking them, that which one of these you think is his neighbor that helped him, and of course, and that showed mercy on him. That was his neighbor, the Samaritan. He was his neighbor, that showed mercy on him. Now that's what God is saying. That you should learn to love, those that despitefully use you, or those that you don't get along with, or those that can't stand your guts. We should learn to love those people. And now, and he says, oh, also that go and do likewise. That meaning we should do the same thing as this good Samaritan that had compassion on this, God. That's how we should be. Okay? And that is it for the loving one another part, because I'm not going to take up too much of your time. And now I want to talk about loving not the world. And if you go to Luke 9th chapter, in the 21st verse, it says, For what is a man advantage if he gain the whole world and lose himself or be cast away? Now, I want to help the best way I can with this part. And I always say that I know, I'm in school, and it's things that I desire, and it's things that I want to do. But in our nationality, and to be real with you, I count all those things done. You know what I'm saying? All those things that I want to do, that I desire. I even desire to write a book. Without God, that stuff is nothing. What God is saying here is, what profit you to gain the world, lose your soul? What profit you to gain all these things and love all these things that you do, making these things out of your God, putting it before God? And he said to lose himself or be cast away. What profit you to get those things and do these things and not put God first? You know what I'm saying? So I say, everything that I do, no matter what you desire to do, no matter what you desire, where you desire to go or travel, don't never forsake God for these things. Don't never make these things that you desire your God. And I went to 1 John, the 2nd chapter, 15 through the 16th verse. And 15 said, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Love, it's so deep. Meaning he's talking about love, meaning not just love, but making something your idol. Loving it so much that God is not even in the picture anymore. Okay, and number 16 said, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Meaning if you forsaken God for all these things, and you don't even think about God, or don't even give God time, and you making what you want to do, or the things that you desire your God, that becomes an idol. And that means that you love, the Bible said, be in the world but not of the world. Yes, you are in this world, but you don't have to desire the things of the world, like the world do. It should be a separation. Yeah, I go to school, but that's not my God. I count it dumb. God comes first. You feel what I'm saying? So I think it's important that we learn these, love not the world. Be in the world but not of the world. Don't get so caught up in this world to where if you die, tomorrow or whenever, which I don't like to talk about, but it's real, you can't take those things with you. And you're not going to heaven not knowing God, because you're focusing on your career so much. You're focusing on what you want to do so much that you're not even thinking about serving God. Or you love this world so much, you want to listen to rap, you want to club, you want to drink, and you want to smoke, those are things of the world. And if you do these things and you make those things your idol, then what God is saying, then he says right here, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Meaning God does not abide in you if you love the world. So we should learn to love the things of God. And not only that, if we desire to do things, God's not saying stop doing this and stop doing that. Of course, he's saying stop smoking and drinking and sinning. But if you desire to go to school, or if you desire to sing, or you desire to do any of these things, don't put the world, don't put it before God. You know what I'm saying? Still have the love of God, still love God, and like he said right here, for all that is in the world is the lust of the flesh. Don't lust after the world and the things of the world. Let God lead you and guide you. Of course, he wants us to be in prosperity and to have things. So I think that's important to know, that whatever you do and whatever goals you have, don't put it before God. Because what profits you to gain the world and your little success and your whatever you like to do, and forsake God, it profits you nothing. So until next time, like I said, I am April.